Good. Welcome to the Teen Scene 10. We're continuing to talk about the psychology of sex trafficking. This was the thing that really kind of was just mind-blowing. Like, really mind-blowing. There was a list in 2000 and I believe it was 13. I may be wrong on that. But there was a list of 18 cities that are notorious for sex trafficking. Atlanta is ranked number 1 on a list of 18 cities for being notorious for sex trafficking. Now you have to remember, we have the largest and the busiest airport in the world. So, you know, and it's an international airport, so we fly everywhere. So of course that's the prime. I think that has a lot to do with why it's one of the hubs, or the number one hub, because we have such an international connection, and with our airport. But let me run down the list really quickly of some of the other cities. Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, Knoxville, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Milwaukee, New Orleans. All of these places, and the list goes on, but all of those places are notorious for sex trafficking. The average age, Amani, I'm going to ask my little guest here. Amani, what do you think the average age is of a girl who enters, at the time she enters the human trafficking sex trade? What's the average age range, do you think? Just take a guess.
Around age 8 to 13.
8 to 13? That actually is a pretty good guess. 8 to 13 is a different statistic, but it does have to do with sex. The average age of girls that become sexually active is between 8 and 13. But the average age of average age of kids that enter the sex trade is between 12 and 14 years old, which explains why some of the top recruiting grounds are middle schools and high schools. You see 75% of underage trafficking victims have been advertised and sold online. So now with technology, they've made it so that it's almost invisible, in plain view. And I think there's a documentary called In Plain View. And a lot of times these young women, because they have fallen in love with their trafficker, their pimp, they reference him as their boyfriend. And so it's hard to see at first, but there are specific signs and symptoms that everyone can kind of look out for. And actually, if you get the opportunity to actually sit and have a conversation with someone who appears to be a victim of human trafficking, there's a list of questions that you can ask and pretty much determine fairly quickly what their situation is. But breaking people out of that industry is extremely hard because of the emotional attachment that they have developed for their oppressor, their pimp. They not only the emotional attachment, but their fear. Because a lot of times, very much like child predators, traffickers will threaten the victim's family. So it's like, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to rape your mom, or I'm going to kill your family, or something like that. And remember, these are kids most of the time. These are young kids between ages 12 and 14, or 16, 17. Kids are kids. And, a child is going to want to protect their parents. they're not going to necessarily rationalize that this person is a creep and, you know, he's not going to harm, or he's just saying that to keep control over them. They're not going to, you know, guys are not going to figure that out necessarily. But that is the point of the show, so that you will figure it out. That's why I want to, you know, knowledge is power. And I want to empower teens ages 13 to 17. And we need to get those 12-year-olds in on this one. You know, because it's just so important that teens have knowledge so that they can be empowered to protect themselves against these types of things. You know, there's a phase when the guy is first, most guys that are manipulative, and when they're grooming their victim, they're very sweet. It's a breaking down process, and they're extremely sweet, and they seem like, you know, they're the nicest guys in the world. They buy expensive gifts. They make all these false promises. It's like a little honeymoon phase where, and he's gonna keep doing that and saying the right things and buying stuff and really trying to seem like this amazing person until he has your trust. Then that's when the abuse begins, the violence, the threatening, you know, the false promises. And a lot of times, you know, drugs and alcohol are a part of it. Sex becomes a part of it. A lot of times, the trafficker will be physically intimate or abuse. It's sexual abuse is what it is, because these are kids that, you know, these abusers are violating. But, you know, until he knows that he has complete control and the victim won't leave him, you know, he's going to continue that lover boy syndrome, that honeymoon phase, where everything just seems so perfect. And, you know, finally you think you've found the guy at 12 and 13 and 14 years old. You found the guy of your dreams. No, you have not. You have not. Because there's a line. There's an inappropriate. Most relationships where adult males or adult women are trying to have a sexual relationship with a minor is inappropriate. So that is a red flag. If they, you know, have you lying to your parents about your whereabouts, red flag. You know, if they're offering you drugs and alcohol, red flag. They're trying to, you know, you feeling like you've grown, but, you know, and you're trying to do all these quote unquote grown up things, but you're really just putting yourself in harm's way. So it's really important that, as, you know, kids listen to their parents. And when a parent comes at you with, well, I don't want you hanging around this guy or this girl, they're too old for you, you know, try to listen. Please listen. Do more than try. Listen. Parents can see things that you can't see, that you don't have the wisdom to see. You know, that is why the hierarchy of the family, you know, parents are over the children. The word says, children obey your parents, and the Lord, for this is right. I pray that this segment has been enlightening for you, and I thank you for your time. And Miss D is signing off for the Teen Scene 10 on the Terry Graham Radio Show.